the president is calling for sensitivities in there, because the truth is, it has happened where those that are closer or nearer, physically speaking, to the president feel they're superior to other appointments. So it's in that light. So where does it leave? These are the line ministries or ministries that could be, also seen to be responsible for the same issue.
I think the overall approach to that particular matter is collaboration, that people have to work together. And what separates you and me is that you are the anchor, I'm the guest. But the two of us putting ideas together will make people get something.
That is the ideal.
That is the ideal.
But that's not what has been happening.
Correct.
Which is why the president makes reference to it.
To deal with such a thing requires the president himself to remain a supervisor of the ministries and the people that are set house. And so, what that means is that there should be a monitoring mechanism. I've been proposing that in addition to having the president, there should be people that should help monitor the activities and how different functionaries. The difference lies in the type of work that they'll be doing. Okay? When they fail, the one who supervises is the head of state. If he believes that a character A is not able to deliver, he will have to remove or replace that person with another person. I think that is what is important. The idea of talking about the tendency of people to be bossy or indeed feel superior than other officers sometimes works to the detriment of what people are supposed to do in a particular office. And it takes away the independence of individuals that have been put in particular offices. For example, if, for argument's sake, you have the advisor on COVID, the advisor on COVID, Dr. Roma, has to work in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and other institutions that have been given the mandate to oversee or to play an oversight role on COVID-19 related matters, so that there is uniformity and coordination in information dissemination. The challenge comes when people are not collaborating, that you have one person saying one thing, the other person says the other, because there is no collaboration. So there is need for coordination, and this coordination can come depending on how the president supervises the various institutions in government, and also giving certain individuals mandated to operate in particular offices independence, that you are an expert, as frankly, you know what is required of a journalist, do your job without interference. Nobody should do, of course, interfere with your operations. And also the other thing, it is not enough to end at a decree that you should not, feel superior than others. It should be a matter of law. I've been an advocate of legislation. There should be some legislation put in place to guarantee security of tenure. What will limit my operations is the legal framework. Because if you come and you overstep your jurisdiction, I'll be able to point you to the law or direct your mind to the law, that the law does not allow you to step where you are. So, decrees should be operationalized in the legal framework. That is how we're going to make robust and strong institutions in the country.
Right. Part of the problem, as we close, has been that the president is only everywhere through his ministers, through the appointments that he makes. But in many cases, the president doesn't realize that he's got a blind spot because not getting everything that he needs to get. And it's only, when damage has been done or when things have gone wrong, because again, it's also seen that those around him, for some reason, whether it is self-preservation, many times will not tell what is actually right or wrong, and information sometimes can be slow. In making that emphasis or reference, when you look at the induction, what he told the minister at the induction, what he has said today, do you think he's saying that because he's aware of this danger?
Well, one thing that you need to understand is the complexity of the government. That is why the Constitution of Zambia establishes the Zambia Intelligence Services. There is a reason that certain things may not go as expected. The president may not be everywhere. So the Zambia Intelligence Services has to update the head of state on a daily basis. And I think if my memory serves me right, updates are done on a daily basis. It should be 10 hours by the DG. And what that means is that the president can be everywhere through the Zambia intelligence services that are found in different institutions. I'm privy to the information that previous governments or leaders, to a large extent, opted to overlook intelligence reports, and that in a way mispositioned them in terms of understanding what was happening on the ground. So there is need that we allow these institutions to operate within the ambit of the law and to do things that they are required to do. Then the president to be on top of things in understanding what's happening in Kaputa, in understanding what's happening in Mbala, whether or not his own subordinates are telling him the truth. For me, that is the most fair approach to leadership if he has to be on top of things.
Isn't it strange that you have senior government officials complaining that they can't get access to the president because there are other senior people around the president that are allowing that to happen? That seems to be what His Excellency Msakaide seems to suggest.
You mean senior government in terms of ministers?
Well, they could be ministers, they could be PSs, they could...
Let me talk about ministers.
Does this... Yes,
let's talk about ministers. Ministers, I think you are aware that cabinet meetings take place on Mondays, right? Okay? Now, I don't think it is difficult for a cabinet minister to reach the president. That is obviously will be asking for too much. I don't think it's difficult because the easy communication between the president and the minister will mean smooth operations of ministries. They have to consult each other at every level. Certain decisions cannot be made unless with consultation with the head of state. I think that's the way to go. And I don't think the operations of State House as an institution has changed. I'm aware that that is the reason why the head of state also has the presidential aid for press and public relations. If it has to do with any other person, you have someone who coordinates the State House with the public. That is both internal and external publics. That is Anthony Waya. So how he supervises his approach to the operations of the public and the State House is one thing that we will have to think about. And so, together with his team, I believe because it doesn't work alone, there are many others that could operate there. And then also, the head of state has an office at State House. And people make appointments to meet the president. I'm sure in his diary, he sets priorities. If a minister comes and there is an emergency, I don't think a minister can be stopped from accessing the president. I think this is something that obviously we can think about. I'm aware that previously we could see on some pseudo pages information suggesting that this minister has not met President Edgar Lungu for such a period. I wouldn't understand what was going on at the time, whether the systems and the operations of government were functional. I wouldn't know what would have been the cause. But the ideal should be that there should be coordination.
Right, and perhaps that is why there was an induction. Let's talk about it very briefly as we say goodbye.
Well, with regard to the induction ceremony, and I think we hope that something different will be done, especially when it comes to issues of accountability and transparency, and the need to see to it that they supervise what is happening in the ministry. And I'm aware that there are issues to do with maybe signing of contracts and all those things, the operation of certain activities within the ministry. And I want to put it on the record that there is need to change the approach in the manner in which ministries are going to be operating, especially those projects that are being undertaken under each ministry. We need to put someone or establish a position through the legal framework of an individual well vested in monitoring and evaluation in each ministry. This person should be linked directly to the Anti-Corruption Commission. We need to streamline Anti-Corruption Commission, DEC, the Zambia Police Service. The idea is you will spend less on investigations where matters of corruption or abuse of public office, when they emerge, you have to spend less because you'll have information in real time. There'll be monitoring activities, and also we change the legislation that govern the Auditor General's office as well. Because most of these activities that have been happening in the ministry as a result of poor systems or not having proper systems or well-established systems. Instead of the Constitution talking about 9 months, within 9 months of publication of the Auditor General's report after a financial year, you can have it on a quarterly basis. by introducing certain key positions of people well vested in monitoring and evaluation, so that there is feedback on a quarterly basis, so that the government can easily determine whether or not to change the course of certain policies that they put in place for that financial year, or to continue with the same policy, than reviewing a policy at the end of the financial year. So these are some of the things that we may begin to change.
So you're asking for some constitutional review?
The constitutional reviews, the legal framework, to see to it that systems change. You are aware that as the scholars have put it, okay, doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results is total madness. So really, if we have to change the way things run, the system of running government ministries has to change.
Well, let's end it there.
Thank you.
Of course, we will certainly have another chance to delve into that a little bit more. Thank you for casting your thoughts on this, and we look forward to seeing you again, because there's more to come.
Of course.
Mark.